ABC. This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening. AIDS has made the headlines again. The great American tennis player Arthur Ashe made it clear here in New York today that he very much would have preferred to keep it a private matter. But he could not because a newspaper he thought was about to make it public. And now that it's public, he said, he will do what he can to educate others, that just as AIDS doesn't discriminate, we, as he put it, must not discriminate against its victims. And so we begin tonight with a family matter which will have an impact on many, many other families. Here's ABC's Dick Schaap.
He was, as always, articulate, dignified, calm. Yes, he had AIDS.
It was transmitted through a blood transfusion after one of my open-heart bypass operations.
Probably in 1983, he said, 2 years before blood began being screened for the HIV virus.
I have known since the time of my brain operation in September 1988 that I have AIDS.
Ashe, who quietly underwent the brain surgery when the HIV virus numbed his right hand, chose to keep silent about his illness until USA Today this week confronted him with a report someone had fed to the paper.
It put me in the unenviable position of having to lie if I wanted to protect our privacy. No one should have to make that choice.
Ashe reluctantly went public today and kept his composure until he tried to read a paragraph about the questions his young daughter Cameron would now face.
Cameron already knows.
He could not speak. His wife Jean came to his side.
Even though we've begun preparing Cameron for this news,
Ashe himself offered one bright note.
My wife and daughter are in excellent health, and both are HIV negative.
Arthur Ashe is a magnificent athlete. He won the U.S. Open twice, and he won the championship of Wimbledon. He captained the U.S. Davis Cup team, and he inspired young players throughout the world. But Ashe has transcended sports. He has chosen to fight apartheid, to stress education over athletics, to author a history of black athletes. But now he is in a battle he did not choose, that he was forced to enter. Arthur Ashe will bring the same grace to the fight against AIDS that he brought to center court at Wimbledon. Dick Schaap, ABC News, New York.
By far the most common method of contracting the AIDS virus are through intravenous drug use and unprotected sex. Still, there was a time, as Mr. Ashe made clear, when the American blood supply was far less secure. Here's our medical correspondent, George Strait.
The blood supply is not perfectly safe. No amount of testing can do that. But Red Cross officials say the odds of getting AIDS from a blood transfusion now are extremely low, about 1 in 45,000.
The risk is so low that it's one of those things that I think you can put in the back of your mind and be much more concerned about the surgical procedure itself rather than the consequences of transfusion.
But how worried should people be if they got a transfusion before 1985, as Arthur Ashe did, when the Red Cross and hospitals began to routinely test blood for HIV? Most physicians say if those patients aren't sick by now, they won't be.
The likelihood that we will find very many positives in the population today is fairly small, and I would think that the worry factor should be fairly small as well.
Of the more than 200,000 people with AIDS, more than 4,000 got it from blood transfusions, but there have been only 20 such cases since 1985. Still, officials say even now the only sure way to avoid risk is for people to donate and use their own blood for transfusion. George Strait, ABC News, Washington.
As a number of us watched Arthur Ashe's news conference this afternoon and heard him say he believed he had to come forward because he thought someone was going to make his condition public, we wondered again about celebrity and privacy and educating the public about AIDS. Here's ABC's Jeff Greenfield.
Why are we